That's our Messiah.
Yes, it is.
That's my Messiah. I don't know what all these Christians are doing following him, but that's my Messiah.
Come on.
The enemy clearly doesn't want Jews to know who their own Messiah is. And so he overwhelms us with thoughts of betrayal and turning your back on people who were killed in the Holocaust or killed during the Spanish Inquisition. And I felt overwhelmed with these thoughts and fears as well.
Hey guys, it's Garrett coming to you live from Daily Divers. It's your Daily Dive Disciple. We got a nice review here for you, another testimony, Jewish testimony. Now this one's pretty cool. It's about John Desser. I guess he's got some position in government. But it's going to go over his testimony and what God revealed to him. Please stay to the end of this video as I go through like a teaching as far as what he went over that's biblical, so I can kind of show you where they're at, that everything he's fulfilling prophecy basically. And if this video helped you, or if you like it, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Please subscribe so I can get more videos out there. Please like the video too. But let's get started here. John Desser, it says he discovers Yeshua in Washington D.C. Here we go. Right about now.
My grandfather on my mother's side was Mordecai Ben Ami and participated in the first Zionist Congress in Basel, Switzerland, along with Theodor Herzl. My grandfather moved his family to Canada, to Montreal, and at the age of 14, my father turned to his father and said, "I don't want to be part of the family business. I'm not interested in money. I'm moving to New York City to study at a yeshiva." When he finished his studies, my father thought about what he wanted to do next, and he decided to become a physician. Later, when he was doing his residency, he was asked to give a blood transfusion to a Gentile on Shabbat. And while he knew this wasn't right under the law, it felt right in his heart.
So part of the reason that is it's due to like being tainted, right? So they think the Gentiles are dirty. And we know that from Jesus and the Samaritan lady. I believe it was from Samaria. Yeah, she said, "What are you doing here, a Jew here in Samaria?" And so it's about being clean, separated, right? So they still lean with those laws, and they believe that we're dirty is ceremonially why.
And so he went ahead and did it. But he immediately knew that he had violated the halakha, the rules of the rabbis at the time. So he went back to New York City and met with his rabbis there and asked them if he had done the right thing. And they said no. He walked out of the yeshiva, bought a ham sandwich, and was never going to look back. Because if the law isn't true, then God's not true.
True. Yeah. If the word isn't true, the law, the Torah, the law can be, the first 5 books, I believe, is what it's called, the Torah. And if that's not true, then I don't know what is. And he felt like it was true in his heart. God laid it on him.
And my father's heart was broken. My mother and father met in Israel and were married there and moved to New York City, and that's where I was born. We were raised in a very secular Jewish home, knowing that we were Jewish but never going to synagogue, not celebrating Shabbat or any of the holy days. In fact, we had a Christmas tree growing up because my father wanted us to be Americans.
So the Jews actually pushed their family to become more like American or Christian, really, Christianized.
After college, I decided to move to Washington, D.C. to get involved in politics. And I was hired on the staff of a freshman senator that no one had ever heard of named John McCain. While I was serving on Senator McCain's staff, I was invited by another staff member to a breakfast. Then all of a sudden it got quiet. And one of the men, he pulled out a little book and he began to read from it. And as he was reading, the thought crossed my mind, is that the Bible? Is he reading the Bible in front of all these people? Is this a Bible study? So when one of the young men turned to me after introducing himself and asked, "What church do you go to?" I looked at him very sternly and I said, "I don't." I was invited to attend the National Prayer Breakfast. And when I did, something profound happened. My two loves in life, my two passions, were politics and classical music. My hero in politics was Secretary of State James Baker. He got up in front of 3,000 people and said, "It's pretty neat being Secretary of State to the wealthiest nation in the world. And it's pretty neat being Chief of Staff to the most powerful man in the world. And it's pretty neat being Secretary of State to the most influential country in the world. But the thing that's really getting me up in the morning these days, and I'm excited about, is Jesus." Did he just say Jesus? Why would James Baker talk about Jesus as something that's interesting to him?
Remember, that's his hero. His hero, guys. And so it probably crushed it, for a second there. Crushed the hero he had in his life. Or got him to really think about his life choices, right?
One of my heroes in music was Mislav Rostropovich. He was considered the greatest cellist of all time. He was Yo-Yo Ma before Yo-Yo Ma was Yo-Yo Ma. Rostropovich gets up and says basically the same thing as James Baker. It's pretty neat being the most famous
So God is crushing the idols in his life. That's what's going on.
cellist in the world. But the thing that really is interesting to me right now is Jesus. I thought, him too? Rostropovich? Maybe he's even Jewish. Why would he be talking about Jesus?
Praise God.
Over time, I became convinced of one thing. This Jesus question was not going away.
No, you're being surrounded.
I decided the best thing to do would be to jump into it right now.
Yeah.
So I thought,
We call this being courted. He's being courted by God and Jesus Christ. Everywhere you go, kid, everywhere you turn, it's another Christian, right?
a good place to start would be in the Bible. And I began on my own to start reading through the Bible for the first time ever in my life. I started in Genesis, and I read a chapter every day. I made it all the way through the Tanakh, and then I came to the book of Matthew. And I read through the genealogy of Matthew. And then I got to the Sermon on the Mount. And that's when it all came crashing in. That's our Messiah.
Yes, it is.
That's my Messiah. I don't know what all these Christians are doing following him, but that's my Messiah.
Come on.
The enemy clearly doesn't want Jews to know who their own Messiah is. And so he overwhelms us with thoughts of betrayal and turning your back on people who were killed in the Holocaust or killed during the Spanish Inquisition. And I felt overwhelmed with these thoughts and fears as well. My great uncle had passed away by then, but his eldest son, Moshe, pulled me aside and wanted to speak with me privately. He said, "John, when we met your wife, we knew immediately that she was a very deep spiritual person. She was familiar with the scriptures. There was just something about her that we knew was good. But there's one thing we can't understand. You've been married for 7 years. Why has she not converted to Judaism?" Because for him, that's the only way to be in a right relationship with God. And I said, "Moshe, there is a reason why she hasn't converted to Judaism. My father knows what it is. He's a little bit embarrassed about it. But if you really want to know, I'll tell you why she hasn't converted." He said, "Please tell me." I said, "Moshe, my wife and I believe that Messiah has actually been here once already. And a famous rabbi who came to that same conclusion once said, if you believe in the blood of this Messiah, then you automatically become in a right relationship with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so there was no need to convert. She's already in a right relationship with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." I didn't know how he would respond. Was he going to turn the table over, or tear his clothes, or shout at me and say, Get out of here. Don't ever come back. Instead, he started to daven, and he was pulling on his beard and thinking, and I assumed praying, and then he looked at me, and in Hebrew he said, Yechol liot, which means, maybe so.
Wow. Wow, powerful testimony. Awesome. Okay, cool. So that's so that was pretty cool. So we're gonna go over a couple real quick Bible topics that kind of related to exactly what he was talking about. And while he was talking, I actually had another passage that came to mind. So real quick, let me jump right to that one that came across my mind. I think God laid it on my heart. So it's an Isaiah. So you guys can jump to Isaiah. Jump right to Isaiah 30. You shall defile also the covering of your graven images of silver and ornaments of thy molten images of gold. You shall cast them away as a menstruous cloth. Thou shalt say unto it, get thee hence. You're going to throw away your idols. So what was God kind of doing there? He was sorry, I didn't know I didn't have the page open. So he threw away his idols. He's like, get away from me, almost. God was crushing his idols, is what he was doing there. When all of his singers and all of his idols were, held with men, his heroes, right? He was crushing them right before our eyes. But let's jump to Psalm 86:9 real quick. So he said, what are these Christians, all these other people, that's my Messiah, right? So that's biblical. It says Psalms 86:9, all the nations you have made shall come and worship before you, O Lord, and shall glorify your name. So let's go to the interlinear. What does it mean by nations? Oh, goyim. Would you look at that? So Gentile nations, foreign nations. There we go. So yeah, just so you guys are aware, that's what we are, Gentiles. But if you're not Jew, you're a Gentile. And then switching to Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God, and I will be exalted among the nations, and I will be exalted in the earth. Again, let's jump right to the interlinear. What word is there for among the nations? Again, it's goyim, right? It's the goy nation, Gentile people, right? So come, it is your Messiah. You're absolutely correct. Come, absolutely correct. And then Isaiah 35, 5-10. And so his eyes are getting opened, right? So we saw that. He's like, this is my Messiah. They're worshiping my Messiah. He says, then the eyes of the blind shall be open and the ears of the deaf unstopped. And then shall the lame man leap like a deer, and the tongue of the mute sing for joy. For waters break it forth in the wilderness, and streams in deserts. Remember, for not saved, you're a desert, and you're dead, you have no water. And you become a living well of living water, right? As Jesus says. In 7, the burning shall become a pool, and the thirsty ground springs of water. There, that more relates, right? But the haunt of the jackals which lie down, and the grass shall become reeds and rushes. So he's changing us, right? And there shall be a highway shall be there, and shall be called the way of holiness. And the unclean shall not pass over it. It shall belong to those who walk on the way. Even if they are fools, they shall not go astray. So when we think of highway, we think of a highway like with cars. No, it literally means a higher way, okay, in the Hebrew. And the 9, no lion shall lie there, nor shall ravenous beast come upon it. They shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. Interesting. Remember, this is Isaiah 35. And the ransomed of the Lord shall return. What do we say? We've been bought, we've been purchased by the blood of the Lamb, right? And come to Zion and singing. Everlasting joy shall be upon their heads, and they shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. We're witnessing that now. So, guys, if this helps you, please like, comment, share, subscribe, so we can get this more out there. I'll do. This is a Testimony Tuesday, and then Thursday will be the other review videos and teachings. But till next time, guys, have a great day. See ya. Bye-bye.